But check it out. Now, we got somebody in the house that I know is going to get you absolutely jacked. Out of Sleepyn Comics. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Can you hear me okay, MC?
Yeah, man, you're outside. Look at that. Look at you're in a nice. Is that you be outside your house?
Yeah, I'll try this. Let me know if the audio's bad. I can go find somewhere else. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, it's about time. You and me, we're always like hovering around the same places. We never can schedule a time.
My schedule's just bonkers.
I know, man. And by the way, your videos that you put out every week, must see, everybody. I love it. So you got to do more if you can. Are you going to try to get to do some more? I mean, I know your schedule is busy, but
yeah, no, it's so fun. And I always want to try to, it's tough. I know you make a lot of content and you're trying to, have insights that a lot of other people, sometimes I want to do a video, but then you guys are too fast. You guys do the video that I want.
No.
So I but yeah, I'm trying to crank out one a week, and it's so much fun. I wish I could do more, but you know how it is. I mean, it's
yeah.
It's
big time.
And I've got a family and a job, and all this whole game. You know how it is.
You have a job? No, the dude, Veve's got to be your job. No,
I know. I thought about that, right? Yeah. No. Yeah, I do have a job, despite what a lot of people believe.
Yeah, I know. Well, something's got to help us pay for it, right? I mean, look like Sleepyn. The reason I sent you that link today too is because, I mean, I've always wanted to talk with you, right? And sit down.
I know we've been trying to connect for months. It's like I said, it's my fault. My schedule's just bonked.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I knew we would. We've been in the same streams numerous times with other people, right? So it's all good. It's tough to schedule stuff for sure, right? And but all the stuff that's happening right now. I mean, we're on this Twitter Spaces together too. I see you in there, and I hear you join in, and I'm in there more than I ever have before because it's a lot of fun. And but all the stuff that's going on, man, I wanted to get your take on it because, like, we got Spider-Man with the Spider-Man 300. That was the last straw. I'm like, okay. I gotta drag you here. I gotta get you here. We have to talk about Spider-Man 300. I know you have thoughts about that, but then there's the one of ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then we got the crypto to gem thing that we saw in the, and then we got, oh God, what else? We got so much stuff going on, man. And so I'm gonna start you off with, if you don't mind, I'm gonna ask you 300. Okay. What do you think? Okay, what's your thoughts about the 300 comic? Like, just
bananas,
for people who don't know,
right? It's it's a million things go through my brain. I obviously have one, and such an iconic comic, and Venom is such a big time character. I really like Venom a lot. I didn't like the movies so much, but I feel like they'll figure out a way to put him in the MCU, and people will. He's such, he's got a great story, and I don't want to give away any spoilers, but there's a lot that goes on, and he really grows as a character, or changes significantly. If you're up on your Venom, you really know he's changed a lot significantly.
Yeah.
But and so for me, it's just a part of that journey, and it's a really highly collectible item. I've been telling people that the comic is trash, but obviously it's not.
It's trash. Avoid it. Don't go for it at all.
Go. So we think it's a 10,000 mint one, right? That's what we think.
Yeah. So I was looking at. I mean, I saw the super rare or whatever. So it took me like 5 minutes of fumbling around to go back but yeah, I matched it up with Avengers 8. And it does say the same thing. So yeah, it's the 10,000. It looks like, unless they change that, but I don't think they would change the terminology. Right. So yeah, you're looking at a 10,000. Same as the Amazing. I looked at Amazing Fantasy, but I couldn't see them say super. Anyway, I was bumbling that one. I was so excited, but yeah.
So it's the it's the whole game of the exciting to get all these, and I mean, one of the things that I thought of was this, and I don't own one, so I'm not trying to pump it, whatever, is I wonder if this would make ASM 252 go up a little bit, because you'd pair them together. A lot of people like to pair those two together, obviously with Secret Wars 8 as well. But, it's just kind of this lineage of the black suit, right? Get all these covers together. So yeah. I think that eventually ASM 252, this one, Secret Wars 8, people are going to put them all together like they normally do. So yeah, it's exciting. I mean, it's a fun one to have. I think at 10,000 mint, no clue what the price is going to be. I think a lot of people probably spent a lot on AF-15.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been saying. So, and even one of my first videos, I went back and watched some of my first videos because I've been on the.
I saw that. I saw your 1 year video, dude. That was so funny. You said the same thing I did. My first video, I said Veve.
Right.
I did the same thing. I did the same thing.
So, but back then in my videos, I watched a couple of them. The thing that everybody, it's almost like the atomic value of all the different things in my mind was Todd. So back then, Todd was 1,700. And so I would always ask myself when I was evaluating anything, especially when it was over 1,700, would you buy this or would you just buy a Todd? And now I think that atomic, like a piece is AF-15 common, which is around 500 to 600 gems. So when you're looking at anything that's say 1,200 gems or 500 gems, you're like, do I want this or do I want an AF-15 common? Because we know that. So I evaluate everything based on that now. And so I know people have a lot of them, but if you don't have an AF-15 common, of course, you're going to probably buy that over ASM 300 or really over a lot of the collectibles or comics on the app. So that's when I'm looking at the pricing of this one. So I think about, okay, let's pretend the common is 500 just for easy math. I still think if you had 500, you'd buy an ASM 15.
Yeah.
So I would say I don't think these commons are going to be at 500. I don't. It's really comparing ASM 300 to AF-15 is not fair, anyways, because they're these two different leagues of comics, right?
Sure,
but it
sure,
is a big time comic, and as a collector, I'm super excited. Do you own one or no?
Of this one, yeah, I got to pull it out of the box because I only, behind me, I've been putting up my Veve stuff, even the lower level stuff. That's super fun because it's fun. I like to kind of surround it.
Oh yeah,
but I got to pull one out. I just have a raw copy, nothing super special, not
this
graded.
Is, people have already asked me. I don't know the print run on this thing, but it's huge, massive amount of these ASM 300s running around, raw, all kinds of different grades. Although a 9.8 is relatively hard to find. And they grade them really, really hard at CGC.
Yeah, big time. And they don't even tell you why.
I know.
I love them and everything, but you know what I mean by that, right?
It's always.
You think you get like 5 people around you, you're all looking at the comic, everything. Oh, is this going to be a good one? Yeah, send it in. It comes back in 9.2. You're like, what? At least tell me why. But anyway, that's a whole other video. But
that's a different video. That's a different video.
Yeah, man. Well, this is crazy because this one right here, like I said, I think when I was growing up, and I know you and me, I'm pretty sure we're close to the same age, right? Like I'm in my mid to mid 40s, and
I'm in like 70s. But yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I was born in the 70s. Yeah, and so reading these as a kid was just astounding. Like that's why I went out and I grabbed all those Craven comics with the black suit because I just, and it's so hard to like make a decision between like when I'm trying to sell stuff. Okay. So say I have a few copies because I picked up a couple of the secret rares of those like a long time ago. And then they went up really high. I was looking at some of the all-time highs of those. I know this is another world, but like Amazing Spider-Man 294 was like at 1,100 at one point. Because actually, the little app that you can get called Vault Value. It's a little, you can download it. It's actually improved a bit. I use it just as a quick reference. I don't use it like exclusively, but they added like all-time high in there when you click on one. And they also added in drop date, like, so you can sort them by like, you can see what came out first in Veve. But anyway, the all-time high is in there. And I'm like, oh, wow. But we'll never get back to that. I don't think with those comics. But when I look to sell a comic, my point is there's a better comic that I have beside me, but because it's that era and it's the black suit, sometimes I'll sell that other comic that's worth more in Veve because I just want to keep that in my collection because of my own personal. And now this coming, like you said, I love what you said there because we like to put these together with the black suit story.
And we can't quite do that yet because we can't put them in the vault or wherever you're going to have them. And ideas. One of the videos I was thinking about doing was trying to suggest different ways that Veve could allow us to show these off, because that's what you're going to want to do. And actually that is I was trying to think of like things that you could do with the digital ones that you can't with the physical ones.
Yeah.
So one of the things you can't do really is you can't really slice and dice and show them off in different ways. So in other words, like because they're physical, you could have like a short box of all of your X-Men, which I do, right?
Yeah.
But then now I can't, take them out and say I'm only going to show like, have a different one, and this is my group that's, this core group of X-Men or this. I mean, then you'd be constantly taking them out and putting them in different boxes to try and have different ways to show them. Whereas that would be one of the things I would say to Veve is allow us to make an unlimited number of comic book albums or whatever you want to call them, short boxes, and then you could
Yeah.
slice and dice it any way you wanted. And then that you could send those or somehow show that to people. Okay, here's all my black suit ones. Oh, wait, no, here's all my,
Yeah.
late 80s Spider-Man. Oh, wait, no, here's all my, see, in that way, that once again, that is something you can't do in the physical world. You're going to be able to do in the digital world.
Yep.
And it's cool. I mean, it just adds to our quote unquote utility, but that's the way collectors think, I think.
Yeah, big time. I love that idea. That's so awesome. I've been thinking about a lot of stuff with, where we're going, and I was in a Twitter space the other day and we were chatting about, I was kind of like, you know, like kind of like fumbling around with my thoughts, trying to get them out with like what we're actually doing. And I saw your vid too about like, what are we buying? Like, what are these?
Yeah.
Right. And that was a great vid, man. If
Thank
anyone
you.
hasn't seen it, please go watch that. That was awesome. It's really quite recent, right? I think it was just last week you put it out,
Yeah.
right?
That was
Yeah.
my, yes.
Yeah. And so it's like, what are we buying? And that video too got me, and I think we're on the same page with a few of us. We're starting to kind of like in the last couple weeks here, at least for me anyway. And I can tell probably from your video, you're obviously it's in your headspace. Like
Right.
what is it that we're gathering here? Like what do we do? Like and my thoughts like we're starting to like build this kind of collection or whatever that we're gonna take with us to wherever we're going to go, like whatever this metaverse thing's going to look like, as opposed to just collecting comics and buying and selling stuff on Veve for cash. It's almost like I'm starting to now switch it to my mind, and it just naturally started to happen watching your vid, hearing other people talk, and just everything that's going on in the world. Starting to go like, what am I taking with me now to wherever we're going? And I don't know where we're going. I don't know what it's going to look like. I wanted to ask you about that because is that sort of how you're thinking? Because we talk about these boxes, right? That you just mentioned them, right? You would take those if you moved, right? Like if you moved somewhere, you'd take all your stuff with you physically in the real world. So if we're like going to be in the digital world and whatever space that is, if it's spaces or a metaverse environment or whatever, I'm going to be bringing all this NFT stuff with me. And I'm starting to think about certain ones that I want to bring, like almost like the packing your bag thing, right? But not in a way to sell. So what are your thoughts? Like, I know it's a big question. Sorry to hit you with it while you're relaxing outside, but you know what I mean, right? You might have a thought or two.
Yeah. I think it's so tough because the only way that I think about it, because I don't have a reference point of where we're going, is to think about what we saw with the internet. And so obviously before the internet, it's for my kids, for example, it's incomprehensible to them. Like I was saying, who's the president of Kenya?
Yeah.
How would you find out? Well, you Google it. I mean, but
Yeah,
before the internet, what are you going to do?
You don't
Like,
know that off by heart?
So what are you going to do? Like literally start thinking through it. You're going to go to a library. All those books are too old.
Yeah.
You're going to go to a magazine. That's too old. Like,
Yeah.
I guess maybe you would try to call the United Nations and try and find out who is the current president of Kenya. I just made that up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
There's so many things, even this, you watch the Jetsons or something, they do these video calls like you and I are basically doing right now. I mean, that was incomprehensible before the internet. And I think that with Web3, there's going to be all these things and all this information, all these things that are possible that are simply incomprehensible to us right now. And, but we know that brands and IP, they made the jump from, physical into the internet. They're used in all these places. And as I stated in that video, the internet, because of its digital nature, a lot of times allows people to, cross-reference and make sure that you have things copyrighted. It didn't in the beginning, right? Like if you remember YouTube at the beginning, like half of the videos were just like copyrighted material. And then Google bought YouTube, they put in algorithms to, cross-check to make sure people just weren't uploading copyrighted material, like full movies or whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly.
In
Yeah,
Web
that was a
3,
glorious time for a
I
short
know you could
while.
watch it on YouTube, right? But in
Especially music too. Remember the whole music thing?
Oh yeah, and that
Yeah.
was obviously figured, with Napster and all the people illegally downloading music.
LimeWire and all that. Yeah.
Right.
People don't know these names. Some people don't know this
I
stuff.
know. Shows our age. But in Web 3, same thing. It's going to be this world where, people are going to, totally communicate both through video, through all these different ways that we don't even know, virtually, right?
Yeah.
And, we're going to be, if you own, like I'll use AF-15 again, if you own one of these 10,000 licenses to AF-15, the only people that are going to be able to use that picture of AF-15 legally in this new world is these 10,000 people and Marvel. That's it. That's kind of crazy, like bonkers in my mind.
I love that, man.
Of course, maybe they'll extend it and there's things that we don't understand, but if you look at it from that perspective, I think it's pretty cool. And then, where is it going to go? I don't know. But I do know that ownership of digital assets, it's just, the blockchain allows that, and really has only been around, obviously, for, not that many years, and businesses are jumping on board. It's an exciting time. We just don't understand it all. But the other thing is it's so difficult to sell these physical items. And you've talked about that a lot. I've watched your videos.
Oh, God.
I mean, you and I, you have eBay stores. I can box up a comic faster than anybody. We should have like a.
Yeah, I know. Your story though really scared me, man.
But I've just sold so many comics. I can literally do it with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
I have all of them. I just ship so many comics. Same with you. And I have the shippers, those Gemini ones. And. But it's not fun. It's not fun taking all the pictures. It's not fun, figuring out the shipping. It's not. And so it's hard to sell physical things. And now the whole world's different with the marketplace that we have with Veve, and there'll be other marketplaces and other things, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I know, man. It's like high level thinking. There's also the notion of like copy, like copies and like, scams and like, what do you call counterfeit stuff?
Yes.
And all of that. So when you own a comic like this, it's legit. And I love that is so mind blowing that I don't think a lot of people have realized is when, like you said, when you own one of these, you and Marvel are the only ones who own the rights to that imagery. Now, what they allow you to do with it, that's up for, we'll find out. Like if they allow you to, print 1,000 copies and resell it or so, I don't know. I don't think so. Or who knows what, maybe put it on a t-shirt. I mean, you know what I mean? Marvel's pretty stingy, but the fact that you can you actually have it, it's proof that you own it as opposed, especially with art, right? Because that's the other thing that I was going to mention. Like I said, I know we talk comics, right? But you're just as heavy into everything else. And as I know, is just like me, right? And we got the Crypto to Gem thing. We got Banksy behind David.
I know, madness.
Like what? I mean, people understand. I don't know. When you see stuff like that, like this weekend, I know, David likes to put stuff behind him and we all freak out. It's all super fun. We've seen Pokemon back there. And then we got that guy with the lead. You saw that whole thing with the he let it slip or whoever it was. I don't know who that was. A really quick question. Do you know who that was? Like the guy? I haven't watched.
One of the developers, they do that. They have that app game that burns Omi or something like that. And I haven't played the game at all, but I think that it's one of their partners of some sort, right? So
okay, yeah.
Not. Once again, it's difficult. It's in a room. He's talking. Is he just fooling around and kidding? It might be out of context. We don't know. It doesn't really. For me, I think there are so many. They've been so successful with the brands that they have that, I mean, of course, also, I'm not a big Pokemon guy, so maybe that's not why I didn't start jumping out the window. Maybe if I was a Pokemon person, I'd be more. I mean, I obviously understand what the brand represents and that you could do with that. So it's exciting. But I think that they already have so many cool things going on that it'd just be another thing to fuel to the fire. the question is now, and I think that, you've talked about this, I've talked about that, is they're kind of in this place right now where the rest of the world is kind of in this, crypto bear market, and they're obviously, although I mean, obviously they're in the crypto world, but yet I somehow separate them out of that because of all these brands and digital collecting. I think it's almost a new thing, but maybe I'm not saying that quite right. But yeah, and so in this bear market, they're kind of stuck as they're trying to get new users and other things. So the question is can one of these newer brands pull in a bunch of people? I mean, I don't think we know that. I mean, maybe that's what they're counting on. I don't know, but that's what would be interesting to me. But I mean, the one of ones obviously is a different type of buyer. It's those one of ones are really beyond me and what I'd be willing to spend. So that's exciting to get those types of buyers.
You're not gonna be one of the people who's going to like challenge Dr. Profit, and actually he's got both. He's got both now. Do you see that?
These ones are amazing. Like, look at that, amazing.
I know, right?
I don't really know that particular artist as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I always look at obviously what it is, and it's cool. But the other thing I think about, of course, is the future and what does it represent? What is their capabilities? They're still clearly kind of figuring it out, which is great. I'm glad that they are quote unquote figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I don't think until they really know and have established what these different things are, should they be dropping 3 at once? Should they be dropping 1 a week? Should they be dropping 15 a week? I think they are still feeling that out, but the Scotty Young one is super spectacular. I mean, who wouldn't want that one?
I know. And this is funny, right? Like, look, if you look at the background here, it looks like one of those like a printed proof sheet. They got the crop marks and the color marks and all that kind of, and then they have it signed off. Like, this is what you see at the printer, right? So they're like, he signed off on it, issue 1, variant cover, Scotty Young. So, okay, it's ready to print. It's good to go. And like that, one of those kind of printer proofs, and this comic here, like, it was so funny because here I am, on my road trip a week ago or so, like a week and a half ago. And I went to this really nice comic book shop that's in the West Edmonton Mall. It's, in Alberta, Canada, right? And that mall is like, it's a famous ginormous mall with a huge water park and a huge like roller coaster amusement park and giant pirate ships. It's like, it's really cold there in the winter. So it's like a place where everybody goes. And I'd never been there. So we drove all the way over there. It took me like 10, 12 hours to get there. But anyway, it was worth it because I got to the comic book shop. And, I was in there looking for comics, because I did a couple live streams from the hotel and I wanted to give a couple things away. And this was the comic. I grabbed this comic out of just a box of Spider-Man comics for like $5 or whatever. It wasn't like perfectly, in great, like it was in good shape, but not great. And I grab it and I'm like, oh, this is be really great because it's Scotty Young and we'll give it away. And so we did like a week and a half ago, gave it away. And the person who won it, they haven't received it yet because it's still in the mail. And then they dropped this.
I know.
And I'm like, I should have just kept it.
So is this considered an artist proof? What is this? It's not original art, obviously. What do we call this? What is this?
Yeah, I think it's like an artist proof. So I think it's like, what my interpretation of what it looks like to me from my background with my, I mean, you just look at it, but with my graphic design background, I've been to plenty of printers and we've done lots of like, printer proofs. And I've signed them off. This to me looks like a printer's proof.
Yeah.
Like an artist's proof, like just before they actually went and put it with the all the lettering, right, and all the barcodes and all that stuff. And they're signing off on the artwork.
House? Do you think they got this from his house and took a shot of it, or what do you think? How do you think they generated this, or we don't care?
Oh, geez, good question. I don't know. Because
sometimes they give the artist proofs to the artist, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's a great question. That would be a great question to ask.
I would also, sometimes there's different people coloring it. It's, we don't know their process, and it's probably different depending on the artist, right? Who signs off? Who does the artist proof?
Yeah, exactly.
Because obviously, sometimes someone else is coloring it. This looks more like original art here, though, right?
Yeah, and I'm not aware of this image. Like, is this a comic book cover? I don't know. I just personally don't know.
I would have to look. I obviously have read this book. I think the end of the Clone War. I pull Miles Morales, so I think they're on 39 or so. I can't remember where they're at right now, and because I've been too busy, I think I stopped reading around 30. I have them all downstairs. Sure. I did read 25. This was a big one. I can't remember if that's the cover A or not, though. we'd have to. I mean, there was a gazillion covers for 25.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they're always doing those variants, right? Which is super cool. But yeah, I think, like you said, it's an artist proof. That's what I'm thinking too. And so then it just means that you know what would be really cool. Okay, just mind blow this for a second. Take historical books like an AF-15. Give us one of those. As a one of one artist.
They have the. I think I could be wrong. I thought like some of the original art for AF-15 is actually like in Chicago or in the Smithsonian or something like that. So maybe that's
probably.
Not, but I wonder if they could contact some of the people who own these. I don't know. It's just kind of out there, right? But you definitely could put this stuff to, this is looking forward, right? And of course, now the newest art, and really you just have to use, get art from some of the most recent covers and whatever. I know that, for example, I'm a big Silver Surfer guy, and I really like Silver Surfer Black. And I actually attempted, because I see some connections, tried to get some of the original art, any page from the Silver Surfer Black, any page of 1 through 5, because there's 5 issues. I tried
them.
and I couldn't. And I think they were selling for 25 to 50K per
wow. So you
page.
couldn't even find one that you could have even potentially went after, like they weren't even available type thing?
No, yes. I was too late and too poor.
Well, like, look at me, right? I got my AF-15 print. This is $20. It's really nice, actually. I picked it up at a store chain called Mind Games, and they do like all sorts of fun stuff and cards and pop figures and games and stuff like that. Like, like board games and things. And I picked that up, and I'm super stoked about it. But you actually have the original behind you.
Yeah,
so you're not that poor, my friend.
Well, that was that was an investment. That was, that was as a comic collector, it's really the holy grail for me. And so being able to get one, I think it was unbelievable. To be able to be in a position to buy one, to get it, to hunt it down. I enjoyed the whole experience.
Do you mind? Can you share the story really quick? Because, I don't know how much time you got, right? If you got to go anytime, like let me know. We're all good. But share the story, man. Okay, it's such an unbelievable
2 stories. I got to run. So the first story is it's actually kind of hard to, you see them all over. They're on sale. But you're talking tens of thousands of dollars. So you want to make sure you don't want to buy one, and maybe it's a 2.0, but the cover's like ripped in half. It actually is a bunch of 2.0 where half the cover's missing, or not half, but just chunks.
Yeah, big.
I couldn't get one where there's chunks missing out of the cover. You know what I mean? I didn't want that.
Yeah.
And so I actually negotiated with, I talked to people in Canada. I talked to people all over, right? And I negotiated hard on a raw one, which the guy kept saying, sent me some pictures, and he said it was about a 4, and it was like 40K, which is a really good price for a 4. But I just couldn't do it. I couldn't buy a raw because I was so scared that once I got it and I had it graded, it would be restored, it'd be trimmed, there'd be color touch, and then the price just plummets. And we talked about me flying out there and seeing it, and I just couldn't do it. So then I did a different deal with a guy, and I bought a 1.8, it's a really good looking 1.8. And I sent him the money, and he sent me the comic. And of course, it's tons and tons of money, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. You wire it to this guy, and you're praying, right?
Yeah.
And then you sit around, you look at the tracking number, and I order a lot of comics and I don't look at the tracking number, but this one, you look at the tracking number, you get it. And I immediately opened it. I put a camera, I filmed it because in case something's wrong, so I opened it, and it was not AF-15. It was Fantastic Four #1. And I'm like, how can you mess that up? How, of all the comics you're mailing out, how can you mess up AF-15? Come on. Like, I get it. The guy was sending out a bunch of comics, but he
got the wrong one. Oh,
all the ones to get wrong. I actually thought it might've been a joke. Like, I was so freaked out. But I was able to work it out. And then of course, the guy who was supposed to get the Fantastic Four got the AF-15. How would you like to open up that and be like, I got a good comic? Once again, Fantastic Four #1 is an incredible comic.
I'll take it. Wait, which is better? So if you're that guy, right?
I think the Fantastic Four was like a 2.5 or something like that, and so they were about equal in price, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
Do you
yeah, it
have
was.
do you have one of those, by the way?
I do not. I do not.
Okay.
Well, I
Okay. Yeah.
had
Yeah.
24 hours until so I was able to talk to this guy. He was really cool, and I sent him his Fantastic Four #1, and he sent me the AF-15, and we were able to work it out.
Oh
So,
man.
but I suppose if he wanted to be a jerk, he could have held it, or if I wanted, but just not the one you want to have messed up, right?
No. This is the thing, right? Like, and you can just go buy it on Veve right now.
That's the thing, and I know you've been really big on that, and I agree with you. Is the transaction is so smooth? You just hit the button and whammo, it does all the work on the blockchain. It switches out, and you own that thing.
Yeah.
No, you
I
own
mean,
it.
nothing will replace originals, like, like that, like you having that physical.
Right.
There's you and me and people like we're none of us are saying, okay, this is just going to completely replace it. And that, I'm selling it all. I'm selling it all. So get rid of it. And I'm going in and I'm buying, you could, but if you want to just talk about pure dollars and cents, maybe, right? But, who knows, right? But no, like I want to match them up. And, but that like I said, I got Star Wars toys, man. I'm afraid to sell
I know.
because like I'm trying to go half here.
Tough because I know if you sell them through eBay, they do have insurance and all that stuff, but it's such a pain it's a pain, and so,
I just sell a $20,000 something through eBay and sleep well that night.
I've never
done a week.
I would, maybe go, if you go to cons, I know you've been to cons, you go there, go carrying them in, but it's tough. I saw a guy walking around, and he wanted to sell some big time comics to some, and he had, I think he had like a giant size X-Men, like 9.6 in his backpack. He had like
his backpack.
He had this backpack. I'm not lying. He had this backpack on. And he walked up and
thousands of dollars in cash, just in like he might as well just have a stack of cash in his backpack.
Yeah, he threw it down. I mean, he didn't throw it down, but he and the guy's like, I'm interested in selling these or trade. And the guy's like, sure, what do you got? And people kind of looking around. And then the first one he pulled out was giant size X-Men 9.6. So that's, for people who don't know, that's like,
I was going to ask you that for people who don't know.
$30,000 book now. So at the time it was maybe a $10,000 book back then. And so that, and then I think he pulled out an X-Men 1. I think he pulled out a Hulk 181. I mean, he had $100,000 in his backpack.
Oh jeez.
And the guy, I remember that particular vendor said, well, maybe we could buy one of these. And he's like, I want to sell them as a set. And then the guy was like, we would.
What are you doing to me here?
We don't have $100,000 right here.
Well, I'll just hit the bank machine. Just hold on. I'll hit the bank machine.
Like, I know people who bought big time comics and they'll fly out and they'll meet at a bank, and then they'll they transfer it at the bank, and then they give them the comic and shake hands, and that makes sense to me when you've got transactions that are over, 10, 20, 30, K, etc.
Totally. Yeah. Fly out there. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, when you're spending $50,000, it makes sense to like spend $200 on a plane ticket and go meet the person and shake hands. And it's kind of fun too.
Oh yeah. Then people that do some stuff. Yeah. Oh man. That's such a great story, man. I know you mentioned, I heard like most of it before, but I know a lot of people may not have heard that.
Goofy.
But
it's a goofy story. Like, I wouldn't believe it, except I saw it, and it was bonkers.
That guy must have been sweating.
But I'll try and if you're still on, maybe I'll try and come back. But it's Sunday, so I'm driving my kids around like a madman. And
yeah, for sure, man. It's so great, dude. I'm just jacked. Thanks for coming on. It's actually cool. Someone in the comments said, it's the first time he's seen you out of your basement.
I know. I do sometimes come out of my basement. Not often, but they allow me only up here in the real world to drive and feed people. Then I must go back down to the basement. So
immediately back.
Not allowed to breathe air up here.
Well, we'll see you later. I will be on for a bit longer if you do pop back in. And but yeah, otherwise I'll see you in the next one. And guys, go watch his Sleepin's last video specifically about the whole thing about what are we buying. Great video. And of course, I'm sure you'll be dropping one pretty quick too. But we'll see you later, man.
Take care. Thanks.
All right, cheers. Oh, that was so fun to have Sleepyn pop in here. Hey guys, that was so cool. Can you believe